Hi, and welcome to episode 11 of the Tyrannic Show. I'm just so happy that you have decided to join us yet again for another episode. Today, we are going to talk about why women are using yeast infection creams for hair growth. First of all, let's just take a minute and think about it. Who sat down one day and thought, I'm having some hair loss, I'm experiencing some issues with my hair, and I'm seeing balding and I'm seeing thinning. You know what I should try? What would work on my hair loss? Yeast infection cream. Like, who sat down and came up? Like, where did that idea even come from? Let's just try yeast infection cream on my hair to see what will happen. I mean, who comes up with this stuff? Like, whoever came up with that, please hit me up, holla at your girl. Let's sit down and let's brainstorm and let's think about some big ideas, because I don't know how people come up with this stuff. Oh, another good one. Who sat down one day and thought, I have this pimple on my face, and you know what will work on this pimple? Toothpaste. Toothpaste will work on a pimple. I just wonder, who sat, we are so creative. We are so creative as human beings to put toothpaste on a pimple, and it actually works. I used to do that all the time. Every time I got a little pimple, I would put toothpaste on it. Now, the only thing with that is sometimes it will leave a black mark. So I didn't like that aspect of it. But the toothpaste really, it worked. And I would see some people, like some of my friends, they just be walking around with the toothpaste on their face. You've seen it before, like they just walk around with this white dot, and you're like, why is there a white dot on your face? Oh girl, I am trying to treat this pimple with some toothpaste. Who comes up with this stuff? Oh, and then this is the all black people know this. Anything, any sickness, you got a headache, you got the fever, you hit your toe, man, you burn yourself on the stove. Ginger ale really cures every single thing. It is the solution to everything in the black community. Oh, lastly, the solution to everything in the natural hair community, you know exactly what it is. Your man is cheating on you, your edges are falling out, your hair look dry, your skin looks dry. Coconut oil. Coconut oil is the solution to everything in the natural hair community. Ginger ale, the solution to every ailment in the black community. The solution to pimples apparently is toothpaste and hair loss. The solution to hair loss is using Monistat on that area that is thinning, balding, whatever. So today, we are gonna uncover, does it really work? Does yeast infection cream, Monistat, really work on hair loss? And just like the facts, right, behind it. Because I know that there are countless photos online, there are groups on Facebook, there are groups on Instagram, women just saying, oh my gosh, I have found the cure for hair loss. I was experiencing postpartum shedding, I was experiencing hair thinning, and I started using Monistat cream every other day. I think the solution is 1 in 1. So you would use 1 part water, 1 part Monistat cream, and then you would put it on the hair. And I'm starting to see my hair grow back. They've actually taken pictures of before and after, and guess what? They're seeing results. But There have been no scientific studies. I hope I said that word right, because that didn't sound too right coming out of my mouth. Okay, there have been no studies that show Monistat or yeast infection. The key ingredient in Monistat is miconazole nitrate. That is the key ingredient used in Monistat that doctors have, they talked about it. They said this is the key ingredient that would even explain why you have seen hair growth at all if you've been using the cream on your hair. So let's dive a little deeper into why miconazole nitrate, I sound so scientific-y. Okay, anyway, miconazole nitrate would cause just a little bit of hair growth. First things first, miconazole nitrate, which is the key active ingredient in Monistat or yeast infection creams, the job of that is to kill or attack fungus. So it's an anti-fungal cream. And what it does is when you apply it to your skin or your scalp, it breaks down the membrane of the cell. So if we think about the cell like as a little circle, and you've done this in, I think it's elementary school, primary school, we call it in the Bahamas, where they show you learn about the cell membrane, the nucleus, which is the powerhouse of the cell. And listen, I remembered something from elementary school. The nucleus, if anything, I remembered about a cell is the nucleus, which is the powerhouse of the cell. And I hope I'm not wrong, because I'm saying this stuff from memory. What miconazole does, miconazole nitrate, is it attacks the cell. And when it attacks the cell, what it does is it breaks down the cell membrane. And I'm so sorry that our phone is ringing. Hopefully somebody will pick it up. So please forgive me. It attacks the cell membrane and it causes the cell membrane to burst, completely killing the fungus. So when the fungus dies, that creates a healthy area for the scalp. So now that you have a healthy, the scalp is healthy, that means that the hair follicles are able to grow healthier, right? So the main benefits that we see when we use miconazole nitrate is that it helps with fungal infections or seborrheic dermatitis. Yeah, I know, that's a big word. Seborrheic dermatitis is basically when you have an itchy, flaky, irritated scalp due to fungus, right? So experts have spoken on Monistat and hair growth, and they said that Monistat will only be beneficial to hair growth because it's dealing with hair loss caused by fungal infections on the scalp or seborrheic dermatitis. What seborrheic dermatitis looks like is eczema, dandruff, an itchy, flaky scalp, any kind of irritation or redness. What that does is it causes the follicles to become inflamed, and it disturbs, obviously, your natural hair growth cycle if your scalp is inflamed or if your scalp is irritated in any way. So when you put the miconazole nitrate or Monistat onto the scalp, that helps to clear up all of that fungus by killing off the fungus, killing off the yeast. And we find that seborrheic dermatitis, that is basically an overgrowth of yeast, and the yeast is called Malassezia. Malassezia. Listen, I'm from the Bahamas, so if my pronunciation of that word is not right, I am sorry. That's how I talk. Anyway, Malassezia yeast is a substance normally found on the skin that causes inflammation or changes in the skin. And wherever there's inflammation on the scalp, we find that hair growth it prohibits hair growth, right? So if you have used Monistat or anti-fungal creams on your scalp and you've experienced hair growth, that is because your hair, the hair loss or your hair growth cycle that has been disrupted was because of a fungal infection. So that is why Monistat works on, it seems to be working on people that are experiencing thinning hair or hair that, some kind of hair loss. So what causes fungus on the scalp? Fungus on the scalp or seborrheic dermatitis can be caused by stress. Stress affects our entire body. It affects our hair, it affects our mood, it just has a complete negative effect on our well-being. So we see that fungus can build up on the scalp if you are stressed out. Now this is why, have you noticed that during seasons of your life when you are more stressed, you notice that your hair starts to thin? Like I have had friends and family members, who have been through really stressful situations and they're like, oh, I'm losing my hair. Why am I losing my hair? You are losing your hair because a fungus caused by stress hormones is being produced on the scalp, causing the scalp to be dry, itchy, flaky, causing the scalp to have fungus, and that is preventing hair growth. So obviously, if you apply an antifungal cream like a Monistat that has mi-con-a-zole nitrate in it, it will combat the effects of the fungus, and then you will start to see your new growth, right? So fungus on the scalp is caused by stress. It's also caused by your genes. So if you are experiencing hair loss and you see that your family, there is a pattern in your family where a lot of people have hair loss around the hairline or thinning hair, it could be genetic, right? Another cause is just yeast on the skin. Yeast on the skin could be just by bad hair practices, like bad wash day practices. You're not washing with shampoo. You guys know that I am an advocate for shampooing, not co-washing, because co-washing or conditioners were made specifically to condition the hair, and in some instances, you would leave the conditioner on the hair. Shampoo, the sole purpose of shampoo is to clean the hair, to get rid of the fungus, to get rid of the bacteria. And if you have not been shampooing your hair, then what happens is you open up the door for fungus to start growing on your hair. And as we're talking about this, we realize that fungal infections of the scalp will cause hair loss. Also, if you're taking certain medications, that will be a reason why you could have fungus on your scalp and not know it. Cold, dry weather. We know that our hair sometimes reacts to products differently because of environmental forces. So if the weather is cold and you're not drinking enough water, you're not being hydrated, or if the weather is dry, that also affects your scalp. That's why it's also good to exercise, because when you exercise and you drink lots of water and you hydrate, your scalp, the natural sebum in your scalp it comes out, because as you're exercising, you're perspiring. And when you're perspiring, you're letting out water. And as you let out water, it moisturizes your skin. Your skin looks really good. It looks better. It's not dry. It looks glowy. And so the same thing happens to your scalp. So exercising is a great way to moisturize the scalp, right? And exercising is just good for you. It's good for your body. And guess what? It's good for reducing stress. I love to exercise. I like to go for long walks. I like to do long walks. I love the elliptical. I'm a cardio girl. I love cardio. I love weights too, but cardio more because I get muscles. I get muscles really quick, and I don't like to look muscular. I want to look like lean. But anyway, that's another day, another time. I'm like ranting. Anyway, and then lastly, an immune system response can cause fungus to grow on the scalp. So these are all causes of seborrheic dermatitis or fungus on the scalp. How do you know that you are experiencing a fungal scalp infection? Your hair is itching, like it's just really, really itchy, and you just keep scratching, and then when you scratch, you can see that you have flakes underneath your fingernails. You can see that like the flakes are very visible. You have redness, irritation. So just think about like a regular fungal infection. If your nails are infected or your toenails are infected, what happens then? The same thing happens to your scalp. So that's kind of like telltale signs that you have a fungal infection, and a fungal infection on the scalp, and Monistat or anti-fungal cream can help. But the best thing to do, and what I advise, because I'm not giving like advice to use Monistat on your hair, right? That's not what I'm doing here. Today's podcast is just about why women are seeing hair growth from using Monistat. So I'm not telling you to do that. What I am telling you to do, if you have noticed that you are seeing a dry, itchy, flaky, red, irritated scalp, then you need to incorporate a hair care regimen that, and I'm sorry for the background noise, that's one of my neighbors. They are pulling up their garage. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm so sorry. What I will tell you to do is to have a healthy hair routine that encourages a healthy scalp. And what that looks like is shampooing. So you want to shampoo, if once a week, just try to do it once a week or every week and a half. You want to avoid putting oils on the scalp or grease. So that's a habit that I've seen growing up, is that we think that greasing the scalp is a good thing to do, using Vaseline, using petroleum to grease the scalp. No, that's not a good thing to do, because what petroleum does, and I know people are going to be like, I've been doing this for years. What is she talking about? So when you grease the scalp, most grease, the number one ingredient, if you look on the ingredient statement, the first ingredient you'll see is petroleum or mineral oil. So what petroleum and mineral oil does is it creates a protective barrier between the scalp and itself. So nothing can penetrate and nothing can come out of that protective barrier. If you've noticed that you had like a cut, you get a cut and on your hand, and it hurts really, really bad when you wash your hand. It hurts when anything comes into contact with it. But if you put like Vaseline or petroleum on it, you can wash your hand and you will notice that there's like water bubbles on top of that area that you put the Vaseline. It acts the same way when you grease your scalp. So moisture does not get into the scalp and it does not come out of the scalp. That creates a environment for fungus to grow. Because could you imagine, you're just greasing your scalp because your scalp is itchy and flaky, and you're greasing your scalp with petroleum. Water is not able to get in and water is not able to get out. So your scalp is essentially not breathing. So what is that? That's a breathing ground for fungus. And to top it off, you have incorporated this hair care routine where you do not use shampoos, which have a cleansing agent in them to remove dirt, fungus, debris, product buildup. But you're gonna use a conditioner to wash your hair, and conditioners are supposed to condition, moisturize the hair. Therefore, the dirt isn't coming off of your hair because you're using a conditioner instead of a shampoo. And you're greasing your scalp. So what happens? That's a breeding ground for bacteria, for fungus. And where there is an unhealthy scalp, there will eventually be hair loss. So, number one, we want to create a healthy scalp environment. If you are experiencing dandruff or any kind of irritation, use an anti-dandruff shampoo. Use a shampoo that has a cleansing agent in it. If you're gonna put an oil on the scalp, like a tea tree oil or something like that, to stop the itching, to stop the dryness, put it on, leave it on for, an hour or two or a couple minutes, and then rinse it out. You want to keep the scalp clean so that there is no breathing ground for fungus, right? Another thing, hair growth, what is essential to hair growth is blood flow. So if you are experiencing hair loss, you want to massage. Get a nice oil before you wash your hair, like a oil blend. We have a great one. It's our Curly Tropical Oils blend. Get an oil like that, or get jojoba oil, get tea tree oil, peppermint oil. Just massage the scalp. Massage the areas that are problem areas for you in the area of like hair loss. Massage it, get the blood flowing. Once you get the blood flowing into that area, what happens is that stimulates hair growth. So do weekly, daily massages to the scalp to not only get rid of dandruff flakes or buildup on the scalp, but it's relaxing. It's relaxing and it causes blood flow. So incorporate a healthy hair routine by using the shampoo, by limiting the amount of products that you put on the scalp. Gels should not go on the scalp. Conditioners should not go on the scalp. Curl cream should not go on the scalp. If you're going to put an oil on your scalp, let it be a jojoba oil or tea tree oil. Also, you don't want to leave them on for long periods of time. You want to use them you could use them for a couple minutes, 20 minutes here or there, or an hour, but please, after you've used them and you massage the scalp, please use a shampoo, rinse it out. The best scalp is a scalp that is clean. A clean scalp means healthy hair growth. I hope that this episode of the Tyrannique Show was helpful to you. Please, if you enjoyed this talk, could you please leave us a comment? Tell us like the craziest thing you've done to your hair. Have you used toothpaste for your pimples? Does ginger ale really work for everything? Just leave us a comment. Also, please follow us on YouTube at The Tyrannique Show. Follow us on Spotify. It's The Tyrannique Show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Like us, follow us on Instagram, The Tyrannique Show. Also on Facebook, we are The Tyrannique Show. So everywhere, just type in The Tyrannique Show and we'll come up. Please comment, like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you for joining us for this episode. And I hope you have a great day.